Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. When Mr. Sakanga asked me to chair this and moderate this particular session, I told him that, look, Mr. Sakanga, I don't want to dominate the podium. It's not fair. So I wanted to decline. Then he whispered to me, he said, hey, Mr. Chingandu, you know, this is the only opportunity for you to speak about Tazara. I said, is that so? Listen, it's Tazara. Who does not know about Tazara? Everybody knows about Tazara. Tazara, fondly known as the Uhuru Railway. Everybody knows this. It is called Uhuru in Swahili, means independence, means freedom. That's what this railway is. Everybody knows. It is called Uhuru because the Tazara came about when President Kaunda and President Nyerere of Tanzania, who were supporting the freedom fighters of that time, met up with Mao to build this line. Surely everybody knows that. And indeed, everybody knows that after this line was built, it created the shortest route from the central region, Central Africa, to the Far East. Everybody knows that. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here to chair and moderate this panel of passengers. And those of you that want to know more about Tazara, come and see me at booth 17 outside. Thank you. Now to the main business. We have just seen a presentation on passenger service from Alstom. And you can see the width and breadth of the materials that they have, the equipment that they have. But here in the region, passenger services seem to be left to the less able. It is rare that we see people in suits running to go and jump onto the trains. How can we, in the region, make passenger service sexy and attractive? I'll give that to you.
Thank you, and good day once again. All protocol is observed. Firstly, I need to declare that I'm not Isham Emeran. I'm Nelson Malefane representing him. He could not make it to the session. I think in terms of the question that is coming around the support of the passenger services, yes, we saw that there has been less intervention when it comes to that particular space, and for the number of reasons. And I can safely confirm that SARA itself has established a passenger service task team to specifically pay attention to this particular market and make sure that we get on the game of actually providing services to the SADC countries. Now, what is important in terms of our approach is firstly to ensure that whatever we do, it will be viable in terms of the sustainability. Now, I always say that for the passenger, there are two critical areas that needs to be considered. It's the time and the price value. Now, what we are looking at most specifically is to ensure that we render services that are going to be competitive within the SADC regions themselves. Now, how are we going about this? Firstly, the key issue there, it's funding related matters, as well as the regulatory matters that you need to look at. Lastly, the market. that do we have a market? And the answer is yes, there is a market. Now, one area that we are looking at is to be competitive so that we can be able to meet the needs of the passengers. Now, I always say that in the passenger space that if you cannot use it, don't give it to other people. I think that's a key issue that we are looking at. Now, if you look at the network that is connecting these SADC countries, most of it is not electrified, yes. You get passenger trains that are electrified in the metropolitan areas. And we have realized that lately, even in South Africa, the long distance has been affected by that. Now, moving forward, we have indeed approached Alstom just to share the idea of the hydrogen for us so that we can be able to carry forward that innovative of making sure that that becomes a solution to what we want to achieve. Now, currently we do have the diesel locomotives that we are using in that space, and we know that that is one of the resources that is scarce in the market. And when you look from the passenger point of view, it's not an ideal situation. They can render services, yes, but it's no solution to what we want to do. Now, in our approach as a task team, I think I'm talking on behalf of the task team because PRASA is participating actively there. We are looking at the short-term interventions, by the way, through the support of the funding and involvement of the government in that particular space, just to make sure that we tap into that space and provide the service as quick as possible. And I know one of the corridors that we have identified as a priority, it is mostly the Johannesburg to Harare, as well as Bulawayo as a first priority. Then we look at other areas like getting to Maputo and other countries around the region. So we do support the innovations that are coming in from this particular structure of ensuring that we invest on the network. While we do that for freight, it also have to cater the passenger service element. I think let me pause there for now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. What's coming out is that there doesn't seem to be good enough equipment or sufficient equipment. What he has said that if you cannot use it, don't offer it to the public seems to be the case at the moment. I see it as a situation where only those that appear to be desperate and they've got no other means are going towards that. But I want to raise this same question again to Zimbabwe Airways. What are we doing? What must we do to get people to use the passenger services?
Thank you very much. Yes, the concerns that you are raising are true. We have quite a number of challenges that the passenger services trains are facing, specifically in Zimbabwe. Firstly, we have the old coaches that are not attractive. There's always been this notion that the railway transportation is for the poor. And it seems as if it's not only in Africa, but if you even go to the Middle East and other countries, you go to the railway station, it's one of the worst areas where you find people who are the lowest caste of the society. So if we want to improve in terms of passenger services, we need to improve so that we attract customers who are not only the lower end of the society. We need to attract everyone. And this calls for refurbishment and procurement of passenger coaches that are befitting that status. We need to attend to certain issues like installation of Wi-Fi for them and good bathrooms for the passenger transportation, rail transportation to be attractive. Because the reason why we end up with that lowest caste in the society opting for rail is because they don't intend to use these facilities on board. So if you are to attract business people, if you are to attract people who are of better caste in the society, you need to attend to some of these issues. Yes, we can talk of limitations in terms of resources. Where you can't do it yourself, go and collaborate. Don't be too possessive of your railway line to the extent that you can't even offer a service because you are saying I have limitations. I'll give you an example of Zimbabwe. We have collaborated with Rovos and the Blue Train, and quite a number of people are coming from South Africa into the Victoria Falls, Hwange and Harare to enjoy one of the 7 wonders of the world by train. NRZ was not going to be able to buy the equivalent of Rovos or Blue Train, but we can safely say people are coming using the passenger rail through that collaboration that we have done with Rovos and Blue Train. And we are looking for more such collaborations from other countries that will also assist us to service our regional customers. We were also in discussion with Botswana so that we can also have another one from Botswana through Plumtree to Bulawayo and straight to Harare. On passenger, we also need to ensure that we attend to the issue of speed because, and obviously this will talk to our infrastructure. Because in some instances, you find that if your passenger train is passing through a caution area, they may be required to reduce the speed to around 15 to 20 kilometers per hour. And most of the people will not be able to endure that speed because it will take them longer to get wherever they want to go. So also infrastructural rehabilitation, if ever we want to talk of passenger transportation is key. Otherwise, those are some of the issues that we may need to attend to. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Basically, it's boiling down to infrastructure, it's boiling down to better equipment, it's boiling down to putting in new facilities which would lead to the attraction of more and a wider range of people. Now, passenger service is said not to make money. Is there a role for PPP in this environment, Madam?
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about this important topic. I would like to share our experience in CFM in Mozambique. In the last 5 years, we have improved a lot. How? We started with review our strategic plan. And we are always planning, doing, check, and act continuously. I would like also to congratulate our CEO to implement these procedures in our company. Recently, we started with the new coaches. CFM acquired 19 coaches and DMU, and we implemented a new service for middle and high classes. And also we created facilities at the stations and buses, luxurious buses to collect them to their workplaces. And with those services, the capacity for those services per day, we can have more than 4,000 cities per day. And I think it's possible to make some money with those trains. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Basically, that they've introduced new equipment, which is making them to earn more revenues and move more passengers.
Yes, and I also want to share that we increased also the passengers trains, urban passenger trains. We are running more than 120 trains per week. 18,000 passengers per day we are transporting with those new equipment. And we
Right.
also have all those conditions, Wi-Fi at our trains. Yes, we have Wi-Fi and toilets to complement this service. And we are also thinking we start the conversation with Eswatini Railways, formal conversation to start the trains next month to Eswatini Railways. And we started also informal conversation with PRASA and the rail safety regulator to have trains also to South Africa.
Fantastic. That meets in very well with my next observation. In the past, there used to be a regional train. I remember catching a train from Harare coming into South Africa through Botswana. That is no more. Is there a way or possibility of reintroducing these regional passenger services?
Muito obrigado,
Thank you.
meus senhores, minhas senhoras. Começo por dizer que a reabilitação dos caminhos de ferro de Angola foi em simultâneo nos 3 caminhos de ferro.
In Angola, we have 3 simultaneous railway services.
E o objetivo era exatamente para estabelecer as ligações entre Angola e os outros países membros com que se tem a fronteira.
And the objective was to be able to link Angola to other neighboring countries.
Para o caminho de ferro de Luanda, onde nós somos líderes,
For the railway to be from Luanda, where the leaders are,
a semelhança do que aconteceu no caminho de ferro de Benguela,
to the railway station in Bangalore,
incidiu na substituição dos carris e das travessas de madeira para betão,
so there has been a substitution to Betão,
e na substituição do carril de 30 para 50 o quilo,
and there has been a substitution of 30 to 50 kilos.
terminada esta reabilitação,
And this rehabilitation was terminated.
os serviços prestados
The services that was rendered
é o transporte de passageiros e mercadoria.
is the passenger and goods transportation.
Neste momento, as mercadorias fundamentais é o gasóleo,
At this moment, the important goods that are transported is oil
gasolina e gás para o interior do país.
and petrol and gas inside the country.
Entretanto, enquanto isto,
And with this,
o caminho de ferro de Luanda
the railway of Luanda,
vem desenvolvendo outros projetos para o transporte de passageiros,
we are busy with other projects for passenger transport
porque está sendo construído novo aeroporto internacional
because at the moment we are busy with a construction of a new international airport.
aí a construção de novo ramal que liga o aeroporto e a linha geral CFL.
And there will be some links between the airport and the railway stations.
Também, em paralelo, a construção de 5 estações multimodais,
And simultaneously we have 5 railway stations that are being constructed
de apoio ao novo aeroporto internacional,
to be able to give support to the new airport that's being constructed.
grande desafio que o CFL tem
The big challenge that we have
é a reabilitação ou a construção de uma nova variante no troço Zenza-Kakuzu,
is the construction or rehabilitation in Zanzu-Kakusu
para permitir que a mobilidade, quer do passageiro como transporte de carga, seja
to be able to mobilize the transport of passengers or goods
com maior segurança,
with high security,
porque é troço que atravessa uma zona geográfica com elevados acidentes.
because the railway crosses an area that has high risks of accidents.
E de futuro, também para permitir que esse troço apoie
And
internamente
in the future, this railway is also meant to support internally,
o transporte do minério de ferro,
to be able to transport iron
e manganês.
and manganese.
O próximo desafio relativamente a isso
The next challenge that we have
será a aquisição de outro material circulante, no caso de vagões,
would be the acquisition of other materials
wagons,
for the wagons
para o apoio
to be able to support
interno desses produtos que eu anunciei.
to the transportation of the products that or goods that I've mentioned.
Em suma, são essas ações que o CFL prevê
In
facilitar a mobilidade.
So to resume it, this is the services that we SFL, I think, is providing at the moment.
Muito obrigado.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Again, it's a question of a process of construction in order to facilitate the movement of passengers. Now, Africa is a very highly urbanized continent. How can we as railways play a role to facilitate this urban transportation? Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, I think Africa is a very, I would say, fast-growing population, and mainly around urban, as you said. It is expected by 2050 to reach 1.1 or 1.2 billion people with high level of urbanization. And it is, of course, a very important subject to tackle. So how do we move people around cities and within the cities? And commuting people is going to be a very strategic issue for each big city in Africa. We can see it already in many cities like Cairo, Kinshasa is growing fast, Dar es Salaam, Luanda. So these are very huge cities, potentially big megalopolis, and solutions have to be found. Why? Because, first of all, people need to access to goods, commodities, and to their job place, as simple as that. And they need to be there in a timely and safe manner, which means there are not many means to transport massive amount of people. Train is one of them, or public transport in general. But when we reach level of population of several million in a city, you must develop a mass transport system. And this is where most of the cities that are growing in Africa are trying to study and see how they can cope with this issue. There are, as Alstom, we are involved in some of this prospect, in the try to understand what are the needs of the city, and of course, the mode you are going to choose is a mode that has as well to be integrated with, I would say, today's way of life. I was hearing how to connect people with Wi-Fi, how to connect people with any other, I would say, network or interface they may have to deal with on their daily basis. I mean, you take a train, you want to know when you arrive, what time you arrive, and what is the next modal transport you can take from there. So all of that, I think, is being developed by some of the city, is being studied, and it's really a challenge for African city, because mobility, predictability of people within urban, I would say, environment is a large factor of growth of economy.
Thank you very much. Basically agreeing that we are getting more and more people coming into the towns, but facilitation of their movement within towns. So far, we as railways don't seem to have taken a lead in this. I come from the city of Dar es Salaam. We have excellent BRT, but maybe one would have thought putting up a tram service or a similar railway type of facility, because of its ability to move more people in one lot. Okay, now many railways are still operating with old technology, old coaches, etc. What are the railways doing to upgrade their passenger service? Can you give to the next one, please? Yeah.
Well, good afternoon. So we at Gibela are involved in a project that aims to do exactly that. We have a mandate to revitalize basically the passenger rail experience, particularly the sector in South Africa. So your question regarding the modernization of the fleet, obviously in this country in particular, there's been a huge underinvestment for 40 years in passenger rail. We have developed some trains, which I think were playing here by my colleagues earlier, which is aiming to achieve this. Our trains are modern, and they are, to your first question about bringing sexy back to passenger trains, these trains are comparable to any in the world, and we are firmly of the view that South Africa, at least because we are blessed with electric trains, we should bring the trains we have now, which will be 600 trains over the next 7 years or so now left. They will bring the capacity of South African passenger experience to any country in the world. And as you said, not only suitable for the lower LSMs, but for any LSM. The trains are modern, the trains are fast in terms of speed, up to 160 kilometers an hour. The trains have Wi-Fi connection, they have air conditioning. But not only that, these trains are made by Africans, South Africans. You know, at 65% local content, they should be a benchmark for anyone to be proud of. So even though for now these trains are being made by Gibela only for this market, in future there's no reason these products and the capacity built locally cannot be exported to other countries.
Thank you very much. Basically, it's again, really it's just a question of us as railways focusing on the deliverables for the passengers. I remember traveling from Paris going to Belgium. The train was full, the facilities were excellent, we were quicker than the roads. It's nice to see a car and say bye-bye as you pass it, you know. And the class of people was from the bottom to the top, and that's where we really should be looking forward to providing equipment to attract this wide range of people and service our people. Now, my question now is very broad, and I don't know who is going to be best to answer this question. The African Union 2063 have been talking of having a high-speed rail from Cape to Cairo. High-speed rail from Cape to Cairo. It is a good dream. It will remain a dream unless there are activities that are being implemented towards that. Perhaps I start with the ED. You might be more versed with this. Is there something on the ground that is actually being implemented in order to effect this? 2063 looks very far. It's not. It's not.
I have an expert who is chairing one of the SARA rail, who is chairing one of the SARA committees, specifically to look at how to do regional and international trains. I believe he can answer better than me. Remalifan.
No, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Indeed, a dream will remain a dream unless there's an action behind it. And I think in Africa, that's exactly what we are looking at. To connect the entire continent all the way from Cape to Egypt. But I think we need to start somewhere else. And this is a task that has been given by the same task team that I'm referring to. That get on the ground, pursue this matter, if needs be. Let's get a mechanism to conduct feasibility studies so that we can put a plan on the table to ensure that we realize this dream. And I can confirm that for us to do that, we really need an integrated approach, not only from the rail industry point of view, even from other modes of transport. Now, if you look at the benefits from that, one is to actually alleviate congestion on our borders. You might know the rest that is involved in our borders at this stage, where our people are wasting time there to go through and access the market activities of other countries. There's other benefits that are related to job creations and ensure that there's a smooth mobility within Africa as a continent. So there is work that needs to be done there, and we can safely confirm that in our next sitting like this, we will be providing a better report in terms of work that needs to be done to fulfill that dream. I thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And that was my last question. I thank you very much for the participation.